Hello, and welcome to Pressing Buttons. I'm Hugo.
I'm Nick.
Another great week, another great episode. We are back from hiatus. I know it's been a while. It's been 3 weeks. I think our last episode was still in the month of February, but
We
we don't have
don't
to.
we don't we
We
don't
don't
need to
have
get
to.
into the details of how long it's been.
Yeah, we do apologize because we know some people look forward to our episodes on Monday and Tuesdays. But life happens, stuff happens. We got to take care of stuff. Also, the news kind of sucks sometimes, and we don't want to be bummers and talk about layoffs because there was one week where there was no good video game news. It was just layoffs. But we appreciate your support and sticking with us, and we're back. We're back to podcasting. So thank you for that. And that's all the housekeeping we will have. A lot of good news and some bad news happened while we were away, which we'll try and cover. The major one that we did want to talk about, it's a bit video game adjacent because it's not video game specifically, but it is the passing of Akira Toriyama. We wanted to discuss this just because we're such big fans of his work, his old work, whether it's Dragon Ball, whether it's Chrono Trigger, Sandland, anything like that, Dragon Quest, all that stuff. I know in our community we have a lot of people that really enjoyed his work as well, and it was one of the things. I think it's been a while since like the passing of somebody famous, you would say, kind of like hit me, and I think it was more just because growing up watching Dragon Ball and then learning more about it and then playing Chrono Trigger and all that stuff, just kind of impacted a lot of my life. It was a gateway anime. I would say. I think Dragon Ball was the first anime that I saw that kind of was like, oh shit, I love this. I love the action. I love the characters, and then it kind of opened the door for all the other animes I was able to consume, as well as the manga and just Japanese culture overall. I think it opened the door, and obviously he was influenced a lot of creators. There was a big outpour from a bunch of different manga people, even video game studios, movie studios, athletes, all that stuff. So definitely such a beloved figure, unfortunately passing. Your thoughts on Akira Toriyama and what he meant to you?
Yeah, no, it's very sad, and when it happened, it kind of made you think about kind of the impact he's had. And you kind of already nailed it. It's like this guy has basically been doing like some of the most important work over my entire life, like as a kid with like Dragon Ball and Chrono Trigger, and I was a late kind of bloomer with Dragon Quest, but like those three things are some of my favorite things, and I'm no stranger to the slime, so that's how I want to show my respect. Is I always got the slime on my desk. So yeah, it sucks. I don't know why I feel like I want to share this, but for whatever reason, this is like one of the funniest things. Is I was like so obsessed with Dragon Ball Z when it first like started like getting shown on TV in the US, and I think I kind of knew about it as like a thing. It was kind of this like global phenomenon, but it just took a while for it to become something that was popular in the US. And I remember just like loving it when it came out, and yeah, I think you said the term gateway anime, and that like totally resonates with me. But I don't know. So I watch like Dragon Ball Z all the time, and anytime someone talks about Dragon Ball Z, I always think about uh, my mom, where she knew there was this show that I watched all the time, and she couldn't recall. I probably told you the story before, but for the
No, no,
audience's
no, you
sake,
haven't.
no, oh, no,
No,
okay,
no,
okay.
no.
It's just so stupid, but it's like something that just like I thought was so funny, but she couldn't remember the name of the show, and so she called it. She's like, "What's this show you watch? Dinosaur Balls."
Could be. There
So I'm
are some
like,
dinosaurs in there.
Dragon Ball Z, like but she called it Dinosaur Balls. Um, so I don't know. I just felt obligated to share that anecdote.
No, I mean it's a great anecdote, and so many people have so many, and that's growing up in the '90s. Kind of, it's a different age now. Where like anime is very easily accessible. You can really find anything online and, share it across. But this is one of the first, I think, big pieces of media where like a bunch of kids, even, some adults, depending on their taste, like were consuming it at the same time, and people would talk about it. It was good water cooler talk or whatever at the playground talk and all that stuff. So pretty insane the impact that he had, and rightly so, because it's iconic. And I do remember just, they have Dragon Ball Z Kai now, which is kind of like the episodes condensed, where the fights don't actually take
Yeah.
10 episodes to charge up or whatever. So I remember late nights watching Adult Swim and kind of waiting for a fight. It's like, oh, on the next episode of Dragon Ball Z, I'm like, what happened? But and I still read the Dragon Ball Super manga that he was working on. Hopefully, they still continue it. Obviously, when a creator passes away, like they did with Berserk, if they had a plan, you can kind of continue it, but it doesn't kind of feel the same way. But hopefully, I do want to see these characters, and I know he was very involved, especially with the new one coming up. I think Dragon Ball Daima, if I'm saying it right. And that one's going to focus more on a child Goku, which I think that was his kind of the one he liked the most, the character design of Goku that he liked the most, especially starting off with Dragon Ball. So, if you guys have any anecdotes you want to share, I know it's a little bit late. He did pass away a bit ago, a couple of weeks, a week and a half. But if you guys want to share any of this, join us on Discord. Go to pressingbuttons.gg. You can get our Discord link. And if you're already on there, go ahead and share some stuff with us. We love talking about him and all his work and how he impacted us and everybody around us. So please share. All right. Next thing we want to talk about is Red Bull Kumite. For those unfamiliar, Red Bull does this fighting game event. Last year, I believe they did it in the Middle East. I forgot exactly where in the Middle East, but it's a nice little event. This year they did it here in New York, in Greenpoint. Nick and I attended it. We were able to score some tickets and head out there. Very, very big event. I think it was one of the best events I've been in. Obviously, going to Evo and all that stuff was amazing, and I really enjoyed it. But this one was more a smaller venue, but it still had a lot of people, and it just felt very New York. The whole setup, they had Rob TV and Li Jill as the MC, so that was pretty cool. They played some really asshole type characters that were roasting everybody that was losing.
I love that. I know there was like so I guess we'll get into it, but I wasn't able to stay there the whole time, so I watched a lot of it on the live stream, and there was a lot of like mixed opinions in like the chat of whether people thought that was like good or bad. And I'm like, no, dude, like this is great.
No. So I had no problems with the roasting. It was just, I think there was one specific player that he lost, and he said something, and I was just like, oh, that's just mean. It's not even a roast, it's just like mean. And I felt bad. So I think that's the one where everybody booed at the same time. So
okay.
I don't know if you remember that specific part. I think that was the only one where they booed because it just kind of like was just bad and cringy. But everything else was good. The whole setup, it was very New York. They had a cabin there. You would go in the back, and when you would lose, you would do like a cap confessional and basically let your heart out, and then Li Joe would rip your card out and roast you. But they had a lot of heavy hitters: Punk the God, Menard, Gachikun, a bunch of other characters. If you're watching this on video, they gave us like a little comic book, which was amazing. It has like fighter cards for all the players. Tokido in there, Oil King, Valmaster, Lashar. So bunch of great players and bunch of great commentating talent. I got to meet IFC Yipes, who Nick and I both are big fans of, just his whole commentating style. I also got to meet Kaba, who is a Street Fighter 6 player, Dominican. Shout outs to him, and Idam, who is a New York fighting game player, also pretty good. I got to chat a little bit with them, so that was pretty cool. And I got some cards, some like fighter cards, which I will open them up right now and see who we got. All right, this is not good for the audio audience, but video. All right, so I got Oil King. Oh, I think I got all of them. All right, I did get all of them.
You got all of them? That's cool.
Oh,
I didn't realize you got like a whole deck.
I got a shiny Tokido and a shiny Broski, so I got 2 shinies. Okay, all right.
That's pretty cool.
It seems like I got the whole deck and then 2 extra shiny ones. But the event itself, like, it was amazing. It was well hosted. The crowd was the energy of the crowd was amazing. I yelled Lisan Al Gaib every time somebody did a perfect parry. That's an intersection of Dune 2 and Street Fighter. If you get it, shout out to you. But I was just kind of being annoying.
There was exactly one other person in the audience that got it. Yeah. So
that's what I did it for. I did it for
and I could hear it on stream. It was very muffled, but I knew it was you.
Yeah. And that was just because I watched Dune recently. But great event. I mean, the next one's going to be in Paris. I guess that was where the first one originally was. So that's pretty cool that it's going back to its roots, you would say. And hopefully they keep the same format. I think in terms of the emceeing, I think Rob TV did a great job. I wasn't really familiar with him from before. I knew he was a fighting game player, and then he kind of turned more into commentating and hosting and stuff like that. And I think just seeing him in the last couple events that I've been able to see him in, I think he's done such a great job, and he's a great personality. So shout outs to him. Your thoughts on Red Bull Kumite?
Incredible production value. The venue is awesome. The only thing that sucks is like I wasn't able to hang out that long because this was before my childcare situation is where it's at currently. So I think I was only there for maybe a couple hours.
Yeah, I think you were there for 3.5 hours. Or 3.
Okay, maybe 3. Definitely I'm 3.5. Yeah, maybe 3. Somewhere between 2 and 3 hours. Yeah, I think that was my plan, right? I was I just kind of wanted to check it out and get a general vibe, and yeah, I thought it was. I haven't been to that many fighting game events, but I've seen a ton on stream. The production, I mean, that's if not the highest, it's definitely one of the highest production value, and I think it was just overall a very well run event, and I think all the players were happy with the experience. I think that's another thing where there's the setups, or there's technical issues or logistical issues, and all these things that kind of plague a lot of tournaments. I think this was smaller scale, right? Where it was, they picked exactly the players they wanted for the most part. There was a last chance qualifier the day before. So it's a little bit smaller scale, but yeah, I thought it was just a really well done event. I only wish I could have been there. My favorite thing was I think I'm just going to be there for a couple hours too, and then you ended up staying until it was over, right? I
got too hyped, and I was only going to stay for 2 more hours after you left, and I was just I guess I'm in it.
In a different timeline, I would have been there at opening to it was over. It was just comfortable. It was just you got Sweet Chick, food vendor, you have Red Bull vodkas, you have some arcade games, you have some of the best, some of the best players in the world playing Street Fighter 6.
And you're rubbing elbows with them because they were just walking around and stuff like that.
I knew you were gonna love that. I knew you were gonna be I can just walk up and talk to whoever I want, and they're probably going to talk to me because I'm so much taller than them.
That's the advantage of being tall. You're a figure of authority. I will talk to you. No, but I did enjoy that. I was a little bit, weirded out, but they were gracious enough. They talked to me, and I really enjoyed that. Shout outs to Men RD who won it. In the beginning, the matches were a bit stomps. I think the first two matches were like 5-0, 5-0. Then the competition started getting better. The last, I want to say 3 or 4 matches were stomps. Mena stomped Punk the God, and who was the other? Gachikun? Was it Gachikun?
I think the only person he had a real issue with was
Broski,
Broski.
yeah.
Yeah,
So the overall tournament, I think, was really fun. Obviously, with the game,
he stomped Knuckle Dude too in
yeah. So
grand
it's
finals, right?
yeah. He only really yeah. Knuckle Dude. That's who he
Yeah, in
faced in
the
grand
grand
final.
finals.
Yeah.
So I think so. It's so funny because, and maybe this is like my Street Fighter Five like bias or like blinders, like because I watched a ton of tournaments for Street Fighter Five, less so Street Fighter Six, and I think there's like a little, like a few players that have been added that I think have been like very focused on Street Fighter Six, but if you were to look at like the player base for this tournament, you'd be like, this is like unbelievable in terms of like the best possible Street Fighter Five like roster, and it's like crazy how many blowouts there were. Like that's the most I've ever
Yeah.
seen in a single tournament. So it kind of makes it like I feel like something was off. Like, and like I just don't know. And again, I haven't been following Street Fighter Six tournaments so much, so like I don't know if this is just like a balance issue with the game. Just like certain characters are just so like the matchups are just like so favorable one way versus the other that that's like always just gonna happen.
I
Or
think
if
it
like
was a
some of
little
the
bit.
roster,
I think it was a little bit fatigued too, because they just finished up Capcom Cup like a week and a half before or something like that, and the flying back home and the flying over here. So maybe a little bit of
could
the
be,
factor into
yeah.
it too.
So it was still like a hype event, even though there were like a lot of blowouts. I would have liked to see more close matches. Um, and again, like so, I think that could be a factor. I think just like uh, the game not being quite balanced. I think Punk had some specific remarks around Blanca, which I agree with. I think Blanca
You're
is
just a
a
Blanca hater.
bullshit character and is like not fun to watch. Uh, and then yeah, I wonder if like some it's just like not the right mix of people.
No, no. I
A
think it
little
was,
like
in my opinion, I think it was fine. I think it was more about execution because even though the games themselves were blowouts in terms of like 5-0, 5-1, and stuff like that, I think the specific matches weren't. Like the matches were really close. It's all about execution and all that stuff. Especially with Street Fighter Six, we've been paying attention to it since its release. We played it. We watched it a lot more. So we do see that like if you mess up your combos or if you're not paying attention to your drive meter and stuff like that, you will fail. You like it's very hard to get punished. Like it's easy to get punished if you miss something. So I think that's the part of it. Season two's coming out soon. I don't know if it's gonna be in enough time for Evo Japan, but that should introduce a bunch of updates. So we'll see. You'll also have Akuma, which everybody's kind of shaking in their boots and hyped up about and waiting for. So that'll be super exciting. And then we'll probably get more information on season two's new characters, which will be exciting in itself as well. But yeah, I think it's, oh my God, I wish it was in New York again next year. And that would be so hyped because we'll definitely go again. It was a great event. Nothing too crazy, but it delivered, I think. That's it? Your thoughts on it? And you're muted.
I agree.
You agree? Muted. But yeah, shout outs to everybody who set that up. It was a great event. If you want to sponsor us, I did try to get you a Red Bull fridge, but
You actually asked someone?
yeah, and they were like, I'm gonna find out. I was like, I found one of the girls that was handing out Red Bulls, and I was like, are you hired to just hand out Red Bulls, or do you work for Red Bull? She's like, oh, I work for Red Bull. I was like, all right, how can I get a Red Bull a Red Bull fridge for my buddy Nick? And then she was like, I don't know. And I was like, well, do you throw it away? What do you do with the fridges? Are you lugging this fridge around the whole time? So she didn't know. She's like,
Yeah,
I'm going to find out. And then she didn't find out. But I did ask because I'm not afraid to ask.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that Red Bull fridge look so much better, like right here,
Yeah.
versus this like bullshit lamp
That's what I was
that
like.
I didn't even know I owned until yesterday?
Oh. You would love me forever. You would be like whatever's like, well, I got you that Red Bull fridge, so fuck you.
I would be totally okay with you holding that against me for the
Yeah.
rest of our
Yeah.
lives. Yeah.
So next.
I've tried, like, they're hard to get, like, because they don't sell them, so like you need to be like either like a bar or some
Yeah.
sort of vendor or something.
I thought they did sell
So
them.
you need to, and I've done this, like I've been like looking on like Facebook Marketplace and Craigslist to see like some bar that's like getting rid of theirs, and I just haven't made it happen yet. But
You don't even drink Red Bulls like that.
I wouldn't say that.
You think if you have a fridge behind you now, you'll just be like chugging Red Bulls the whole time. Every
I
time.
mean, you can put other things than Red Bull in it. It's a refrigerator. I just, for whatever reason, I like the.
Maybe that's why they didn't want to give it to us. No, they're just gonna put other shit that's not Red Bull in here.
They're gonna put Monster Energy drinks in it. I know it.
No. But maybe next Red Bull event, I'll get more cozy with the people there. I'll get us a
Okay,
fridge.
I believe in you. I think you.
I can sweet talk my way into a fridge.
Yeah.
All right. But yeah, great event. Can't wait for the next one. Shout outs to Red Bull and everybody that was part of that. All right. Moving on to some actual video game news. We're going to talk about some EA layoffs and Sony layoffs that happened while we were away. EA laid off 670 people. Why are you laughing? just the way I set it up?
Just the way you said just like the absolute coldest, most ruthless way of.
That's how you do layoffs.
You're just showing.
If,
Saying the news. You're just saying the news.
Well, I do feel bad, but if they want to hire me to lay people off, I guess I could do it. Anyway, so EA laid off.
Oh my god, I can't believe I'm laughing at this. we're both going to hell.
Well, you're making
We're
me
both-
laugh. I'm just reporting. Anyways, EA laid off 670 people across their gaming division. They canceled their first-person Mandalorian game that we were talking about, and then they did announce that Jedi Survivor 3 is in development. Sony did layoffs as well. Their division isn't doing so well, obviously, with all the canceled live service games. It's only 3 months into the year, but it's looking way worse than last year. Last year, I know we had, towards the end of the year, we got hit a lot with a lot of layoffs, but this year it looks like every 1 or 2 weeks every week we're having layoffs. Every company's laying people off. It's weird. Something, we don't want to harp on it too much because we don't want to be talking about the negative of gaming to this aspect, especially with all the layoffs going on, but they do need to course correct. I think with the amount of money that is being made by games, I think these companies are too worried for investors, and that's kind of screwing them over. And they're looking at the bottom line of the investors instead of seeing the companies and the games and all that stuff. And they're over budgeting and failing really bad. And I think unless they fix it soon, this could be spelled bad for a lot of studios, especially down the line, because the cost for these games are only going to be going up. And if they're not budgeted well and get reined in well, it's not going to look good. Your thoughts real quick on this, the finance guy. Say some finance stuff.
Finance stuff? Yeah, there's some parallels to what we've seen in the tech industry where, and I think a lot of companies are blaming COVID and quarantine. So I think it is a key factor, but I think there's like a lot of like poor decisions and planning that also happened. So it's not the only excuse, but the prevailing argument is, oh my god, gaming's taking off. We now need way more money, way more resources to be able to like keep up with all this stuff. And Um, I think my thought was like that was always the question is that all of that demand for games that's happening while everyone's at home, is that a temporary thing or is it a permanent thing? I think it's obvious to everyone that that's mostly temporary. Maybe some of it is like new demand that was generated. Um, even like game night didn't exist until COVID, and a lot of people, or at least like a few people who like typically weren't playing games that often, are now playing. So it's like, so I do feel like it did create more gamers or existing gamers is spending more time, but not to the levels that were happening during the peak of COVID. So yeah, so I think just like a lot of hiring happened, a lot of money got piled into it. I think a lot of poor resource allocation to either like IP or genres or business models that just like aren't landing. And I know like live services is certainly one of them, where it's like, okay, like do you need to spend $200 million to like maybe see if a live service game is going to work? So like I feel like that whole model. So I think it's just like a lot of publishers are chasing the hot model that can pay off when it works, but doesn't always pay off. So yeah, there's just like a very large scale course correction, which is shitty for a lot of people. And we haven't talked about Embracer. Like we used to talk about Embracer a lot, but they're just like closing studio, like all the stuff they've been acquiring. They're just like closing it or selling it, and so it's pretty tough right now. I haven't gotten like the full debrief on GDC, so Games Developer Conference. That was
That
I
was a
think
couple days
basically like
ago.
last week.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was basically like end of last week, I think.
I only really saw the Unreal showcase. That was like the only thing that I really paid attention to.
Well, yeah, that's in terms of like like content that was produced for the show. I was thinking more about like the sentiment of people actually at the event and
Oh,
being
okay, okay.
like what the hell's going on? Um, so yeah, stuff like it doesn't seem like it's gonna get any better anytime soon.
Well, so last year
It's
it was a defining year for video games. I think it was the year that there was so many bangers, and we talked about it at the beginning of the year. We talked about it throughout the year. We played so many good games and all that stuff, and then towards the end, it's when it started tailing off into a lot of layoffs. Do you think 2024 will be that's going to be labeled as the year where the video game industry had a big shakeup with a lot of layoffs? And any sort of course correction? You think this is a year like this is going to be every month? We're just going to be laying people off.
I think so. Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of that was happening at the end of 2023. So I don't know if we need to get like super fixated on calendar years, but I think there's going to be like a 12 to 18 month just pain, pain and misery. And keep in mind, like a lot of those games, like the development cycle for a game, like a AAA game can be like 4, 5, 6 years. So I think what happened in 2023 was this like insane coincidence of just like all these unbelievable games coming out. But all those had been in development for a very long time. And the challenge was just like how do we like get these games shipped with COVID kind of happening more like on the tail end of their respective development processes. So, and I think what we're seeing now is more of like there was this weird in COVID higher like lots of money, whether that's like invested money or cash generated from sales of games, and that translating into like just hiring tons of people and not using them effectively for being able to create great games down the road. So That's it.
Yeah, that was some good finance talk. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right.
it's a good thing we're independent, because we would probably get laid off as well.
Oh yeah.
We don't need these two guys. A podcast.
I've been on both sides of this. Just with prior things. Like it's a ruthless, like either way, like whether you're like on the receiving end or like you're on like deciding like who stays, who get, like it's just not good. And what's
Well,
wild is just like the executive teams just go unscathed. Like ultimately, like it's their, they're the ones that are greenlighting all of this stuff.
I would be firing so many people at the top. You gotta go. You gotta go.
Just very,
Tim Sweeney, you gotta go. No.
yeah.
Stop fighting Apple. You gotta go, Tim Sweeney.
Oh yeah, I mean they've made a couple things that I think they've done some good things for the games industry, but I think they've had a few misfires as well, where they probably just spent like a ton of money on fool's errands.
Yeah, it's the hubris. These people get too big for their own.
It's that
britches.
billionaire mindset. You're just like, I'm right. I will spend all the money to convince everyone else that I'm right.
Because I got all the money.
Except Apple. Like maybe don't.
Yeah, you don't
fuck with
have
Apple.
as much money as Apple.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. Next thing we want to talk about is the PSVR2 production halts. Since the PSVR2 release, sales have dropped each quarter. They're not selling pretty well. The pre-order themselves weren't too high, so people weren't they weren't flying off the shelves or off the online shopping cart, because that's what people do these days. I caught myself on that one.
Couldn't you even you could only buy it through
Yeah, I don't think you could.
Sony, right?
Yeah. The consoles and DVDs and Blu-rays and all that stuff, and now this. So there is testing being done for the PC market, so they're trying to get it to work on PC, so that way you get a bigger piece of the pie of gamers. Obviously, this got released. There was a lot of hype for it, especially with the PSVR1 doing so well, it being as cost efficient, and it being available on consoles. I don't think, I think they thought it was too good. So that's why they kind of like, yeah, let's push PSVR2. A lot of people will buy it. The same people will buy it. But obviously, the cost was more. You also have to have it on a PS5. So that's a $600, $700 attach rate, I think, because it's like $300. Kind of weird. I think they should just stop doing this. Maybe make another PSP. I would buy a PSP. A lot of people bought the PlayStation Portal or whatever it is. Is that what it's called? I don't know. That's
Portal. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know why.
I might get one.
Yeah,
see.
like
apparently it's like a big like dad device,
Yeah.
like dad gamer device.
just
which
chill on the
that's-
couch and
that's me
play
now.
it.
Yeah.
You don't even play it. You don't play your PlayStation that much. So I feel like if you get the Portal, you would.
I got it right here. No, I will get into some closing thoughts, but I've had an epiphany.
Yeah, there you go. But yeah, they need to. The same thing with games where they're kind of betting on the wrong things. They bet on the wrong thing with this device. They should kind of manufacture, stick to the portables, do the Portal, maybe do a new PSP. I would jump on the chance to do that. What do you think about this PSVR2 and lack of sales?
I'm not surprised. I think if you remember, I mean, this was like a year ago, maybe.
Yeah.
But when they first announced it, and I think I was like talking about it, I'm like, oh yeah, I just kind of feel like I'm ready for another VR headset. I got an HTC Vive at launch. So that was in like 2015, 2016.
I remember that.
So I was just kind of like, yeah, I feel like it's time for me to just spend some dumb money on a VR headset. And I was giving PlayStation a lot of credit that, they've already had, PSVR 1. They must have learned something about like why they would do another one so quickly, because I feel like that was like pretty quick, like for them to come out with another one. And I think PlayStation 5 was like doing very well, and so I was kind of like, oh yeah, like this looks like I have a PS5. I'm ready for a new headset. Technically, I think the headset is pretty compelling. It's not cheap, but I think it's like a pretty strong headset. Um, and there's just no. I mean, this is the problem with all, in my opinion, like basically every VR headset is there's just no games. There was a very brief period of time where I'm like, do I get PSVR2 specifically for Gran Turismo? Almost like and like
that one game, yeah.
that one game, and I bought, I had Gran Turismo, and I was like debating it, but I was just like, they were doing a lot of showcases around the launch of PSVR2, and again, I was giving them a lot of credit. I was like, okay, here's where we're finally going to learn about the roadmap of every title coming out on this platform, and there was just nothing. There was just like a lot of like kind of like run of the mill VR stuff that's like basically already been on the market, and virtually no first party resources. There was like some Horizon game, which is like who cares?
Hoochie Daddy Mix cares. Shout outs to him because he's the only person I know that has a PSVR 2 and really enjoys it. And he played that
Horizon or
game,
Gran Turismo?
the Horizon.
No,
Mm,
I don't believe. I don't.
He
He's
loves
lying to
his.
you.
He loves his VR. He's not like I went to his place and he had it. And
He's
he had
lying.
it
He's lying to
on.
you. He's just trying to be nice to you. So yeah. So I'm not surprised. There's just no game. I mean, it's like very obvious, right? Like, why would you buy this? And there's like probably like 60% of people who bought it are like racing sim fanatics. It's like it's because of Gran Turismo. Like it's the only actual compelling reason to have a PSVR 2.
Here's the PSVR 2. It only does one thing, but it does that one thing really good, and that's play Gran Turismo.
Yeah.
And make you feel like a
So
driver.
so from my perspective, I'm like, great, like just get this thing as cheap as humanly possible, and maybe I'll pick one up for like $200 and or cheaper, just so I can do Gran Turismo, and that's pretty much it.
We love a good deal. Do you think this puts the nail in the coffin in VR? I mean, I know it's a bit much to say, but
I don't know. Like it's a good question. Like it's never. I just feel like there's no path for this to be mass market anytime soon. Which is a different. I think when I bought the Vive, I was like, I am 100% an aggressive early adopter of this technology, but I don't care because I can't believe that I can like buy this stuff and like mess around with like a small set of content and have like I had like a pretty good time with it. But again, it was like aggressively early adopter tax that I paid
yeah.
to do that.
But you were also you also had a better outlook for the future of it. You were like, okay,
yeah, and I thought, we're damn near close to 10 years. 2025 isn't that far away. So, I feel like the VR market hasn't gone anywhere. Like you have more participants in it, but it's just not a mass market thing. I think companies they're able to make like a lot of money. Like I know there's like certain game developers who've kind of created for the few people who do have VR headsets, they've created like a niche for certain titles, and they've done well for themselves. But again, I just don't see it getting bigger anytime soon. And Apple, certainly isn't helping.
I'm spending $3,000 on that shit.
Yeah. Even Apple fanboys are like returning it. Like that tells you everything.
Yeah,
that says a lot.
Well, that's the insane part too. And we really haven't heard anything about this. Like, you don't really hear stuff about the Vive, like what they're doing for it, the future outlook. You don't hear it for the Oculus. Like you
Well,
said, the
they're doing what everyone wants PlayStation to do is they're investing in a portable system, which is Steam Deck.
yeah. But that's the main point, that it's like, okay, I think we've passed on VR, and like you said, um, until the point where they can mass produce it at a lower cost and it's easily accessible to everybody. I think it's not going to go anywhere.
Yeah, I think I think that was always the thought was, oh, we just got to wait for the cost to go down so that more people can have it. But I think it's just like the experiences you can have with VR are very specific.
Yeah.
And pretty isolating. I know there's like there's like VR chat and Rec Room and all these things, but I don't know. I just don't see those getting like that big.
Well, this is the double-edged sword of, it does one thing and it does one thing real cool, and it's like, well, now I want to do something else.
Yeah. So those are my thoughts on VR. So if I can get it, if I can get a VR2, PSVR2 at a very very steep discount, specifically to play Gran Turismo, I'll be happy with that. But beyond that, like I'm kind of like completely checked out of VR. Like there's just not enough engaging titles for it. Really, it's like Capcom kind of creates like versions of their big games for it, but
which work well. But if you could just play them regular instead of VR,
yeah,
it's fine.
Yeah.
All right. Well, for those news outlets that want to, you can get this soundbite. Nick and Hugo says this is the death of VR. Today, VR died.
Damn.
You want to stamp that? You want to?
Did I say that?
Do you approve that? Or should I just say Hugo?
You can't triple stamp a double stamp.
Okay. So you agree? Or do you just?
I agree. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I agree.
I could take the whole quote.
I mean, death is strong, but I would say it's not going to be as big as everyone thought it was 10 years ago.
That's not going to catch the outlets. That's not going to give us the hook, man. You gotta.
I don't give a shit, dude.
Hot takes. It's the death.
Hot takes.
For me.
Death.
Yeah.
All right, fine.
All right. Moving on, we want to talk about Dragon's Dogma. So Dragon's Dogma launched 3 days ago on Friday. Great release. It was Steam. What?
No, go ahead.
Well, I'm not as hyped as I should be because I don't have the game, but according to everybody, great release. I believe it became the highest concurrent user game for Capcom on Steam. It passed Resident Evil 4, I believe. Doing great. All the videos I've seen, the game is amazing. Obviously, with Dragon's Dogma 1 and how innovative it was with the pawn system and the world itself. I've been seeing a lot of gameplay videos for part 2, and the pawn system is even more incredible than the first one. The world itself is even more incredible. I know it does have its performance issues because apparently all the pawns that people have created that are kind of running around in the game has affected the performance. So some people have taken to maybe murdering the pawns, so there's less pawns in the world, which I don't condone. Digital murdering. Actually, that's what all games are about.
That's what you do in Baldur's Gate too. You're like too many people in this town slowing down on the performance.
I just had an epiphany and I realized that almost every game is about murdering the NPCs or the world. But yeah, the game itself,
even in Mario,
you're murdering those toads. Not toads.
Goombas.
The Goombas, yeah. But yeah,
do you even play video games, dude? Like what the fuck?
First of all, we haven't done a show in 3 weeks. My brain is fried, and I haven't played Mario in a while.
That's all fair.
I also realized it wasn't Toad, so it's like I was confusing my Mario characters. But yeah, I haven't played the game. I slowly been getting back into playing game. I've been busy a lot. it's one of those getting back on the gaming train. I do want to get this. Only other thing is Rise of Ronin released as well, and that's even more up my alley because it's a single player, just samurai murdering game that I do want to get on. But I still have to play Infinite Wealth. I reluctantly still have to play Suicide Squad because the new season's coming out. I don't know why I spent $100 on that game, but
I can't believe
because I spent $100 on this game, I had to play it, Nick. I had to play the $100 game that I paid for. It's one of those things where you spend money and you're like, "Fuck, I spent money on this dumb thing, but I'm gonna use it because I spent $100 on it."
it's called a sunk cost fallacy.
Yeah, and we're very familiar with this because you also do this. It's just that
Give me an example.
uh um The Last of Us.
I don't think that's no. I don't continue. Oh, because I rebought it. You mean?
Because you keep buying it.
Yeah, that's not. It's not exactly the same.
All right, Final Fantasy VII.
It's close. It's close though. It's close though.
The remake that you bought on Epic and then you had to buy again.
Well, no. That's not okay. That's definitely not the same because I love that game and I beat it, and then I just wanted to have like a higher performing version of it, and it just sucked. So like I wanted to get my money back, and I played the game for 2 hours and 5 minutes, so I couldn't get a refund.
All right, so the main thing
So
is
the difference is you're like, no, I don't want a refund. I just want to continue playing it because I spent $100.
Yeah. Out of spite of my $100, I would continue to play Suicide Squad.
Exactly. Yeah.
Out of spite, you did not continue playing The Last of Us after you bought it.
Correct. Yeah.
All right, there you go. That's
I'm
the
just like,
difference.
yeah.
But back to Dragon's Dogma. Great game. I can't wait to get on it. This gets.
You're just gonna overlook all of the controversy around this game?
What's the controversy?
All these like
Educate me.
microtransactions, the microtransactions.
That's bullshit. Thought up.
You think it's overplayed? Okay.
It is because I'm like, what controversy? I thought you were gonna hit me with something like slave labor or something. No. The controversy you're talking about with the microtransactions, they're not really like people were complaining about the being able to switch your character's appearance, and they were saying that you had to pay for it. Well, one, if you're familiar with Capcom games, you know that this is how they kind of work. But you don't have to really pay for it. You can get specific items in the game where you'll be able to change it. Now you do have to find them in the game, but if you want to pay money to change your appearance or whatever, do that. All the other stuff, it's a Capcom game.
It's your monster. I know the Monster Hunter games just conditioned you to normalize all of this.
No, not normalize it. It's stuff. And I was gonna say Monster Hunter World has so many little cosmetics that you could buy, but am I gonna buy any of that shit? No, don't buy it.
Yeah, I feel like
that's your controversy. That's a bullshit controversy. Throw that out of here.
Well, it was getting like review bombed and shit and so like the Steam reviews, even though the user count's pretty high, like the reviews are actually not.
Because people don't
looking
read.
Too pretty.
They don't read and they don't play the game. Play the game and you'll figure it out.
Yeah. And apparently it's like the PC performance isn't great, which is like why you need to kill the NPCs to increase your frame rate. But so yeah, I feel like there was enough just like weird, even though some of them might be like not like baseless. Like there was enough detractors where I'm like, I'll just give this one a little bit of breathing room, and I'll pick it up after Rebirth. After I finish Rebirth,
there's
and
no,
like the two other games.
Rush. There's no rush.
Yeah, there's no rush. So, but it does look cool. Like a lot of people are pointing at. I think it's up my alley. There's like lots of zany shit you can do. So
the zany shit I've seen is just it's hilarious. And I love these type of games where like random dumb things happen. Like I saw somebody carrying a child.
Dude, I'm telling you, dude. Like it's like Baldur's Gate is the best.
Yeah, but that's a turn-based. I don't want turn-based stuff.
Dude, you need to get over that and play the best game of all time.
I'll play Dragon's Dogma. which apparently is all that without the turn-based. I saw
play Dragon's Dogma. So I've actually seen people on like forums and stuff be like, "Love Dragon's Dogma. What else?" And people are like, "Okay, it's a different style game, but it's Baldur's Gate."
I will say I saw this one video where somebody was carrying like a child, I guess doing a side mission, and then they put the child down, and the child starts beating up the person, and then one of the pawns just comes in with like a great sword and just javelins him to infinity, and the person had to go back to the last save because the pawn murdered the child. So the pawns are pretty fun, and the interactions between the monsters and stuff like that, they seem pretty cool. This gets me honestly very, very hyped for Monster Hunter Wilds, because we did talk about this before in terms of like how it's gonna look. Obviously the RE engine is one of the best looking engines that is out there right now, and what they're gonna be able to do, how big the world's gonna be. I'm super excited. I think that feeds into the hype of the future.
Yeah, I think looking at this, you can kind of extrapolate to what the next Monster Hunter is going to look like, and it's going to look fucking insane.
And
because Monster Hunter World, like I think, looks
oh my god,
incredible. Like even if you fire it up today, like I think it's still competitive with most of the stuff on the market. So
I think Wilds is probably going to be the most open world Monster Hunter, where you won't have to like fly into different sections. It'll just be the whole thing, and I'm excited for that. I'm also excited because obviously I think Capcom actually, speaking of them, they got the highest Metacritic award or whatever it was. Like all the games that they released last year had the highest overall total Metacritic award score. So the other thing with that is like it gets me excited for the future, because I know Capcom, they have their mainstays: Resident Evil, Monster Hunter, other stuff I can't think about right now because
Street Fighter,
yeah. See, I can't think. But they do like to experiment. Case in point, Exoprimal and all that stuff. They do like to come up with weird shit
they won that award in spite of that fucking game.
Yeah, so like they do like to experiment every now and then, and I'm excited to do something like, hey, bring back Dead Rising. That was pretty fun. Bring back Lost Planet. That was pretty fun. So like, that just gets me hyped. Any more thoughts on Dragon's Dogma? Can't wait to play it, right?
I can wait to play it.
Oh yeah, that's true. You got me.
Vegas got him.
All right. And then the last thing we want to talk about is the Stellar Blade demo. There will be a Stellar Blade demo releasing, I believe, on the 29th of March. Mm-hmm. There you go. We're getting better at accurately saying dates on this podcast. Well, you know what? Don't hold us to that, because we'll still probably fuck up anyways down the road. The game's looking pretty good. I know the demo actually got accidentally released a week ago, and then they pulled it right away. So some people were able to play it, but you'll be able to play the demo on the 29th for those that have a PlayStation 5. And then some progress will carry over into the main game. The game's still looking gorgeous. I know there's been a lot of looks given to the character model for the main character, with right reasons. But overall, the game looks really fun. I think it's definitely something right up our alley. The heavy combat, action, and all that stuff. Super excited for it. Are you going to be playing? Well, now that you have your PlayStation 5 close by, you're going to be playing the demo?
Oh yeah, maybe not until the weekend, but I was going to check it out over the weekend.
And you'll be playing it by yourself with nobody else in the room, so people don't judge you, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Which is I kind of have to do the same with Rebirth as well, but
letting Tifa and Arif out there.
Yeah, that Costa del Sol section was pretty tough, but
a lot of people got in trouble. All right. Yeah. So that does it for the news we wanted to discuss. If you guys have any thoughts on this, make sure you guys are on our Discord, which you can get access to by going to our website, pressingbuttons.gg, and let us know your thoughts on all this news and the passing of Akira Toriyama, as well as the Rebel Kumite. I messed that up. All right, whatever. Let's move on to some closing thoughts. Like I was saying, I did get back into gaming. I had been in a bit of a slump, didn't have the energy to game. And guess what did it for me?
Destiny.
Definitely Destiny. Yeah. The old reliable. Just open that case up, pull out Destiny. They had the Guardian game, so I started playing it. Had a lot of fun.
What shape are you on these days?
I'm in a triangle.
Still the triangle? Okay.
Yeah. It's coming. It's coming in June.
What's
coming
the next
soon.
one?
Might be a square. They haven't done square.
Square. Oh shit! The square.
It started circle. We're going to triangle. Might be a square at the end.
I remember one of our earliest episodes. You made some comment about like, oh yeah, Destiny's got some like some writers now, and now the story's gonna get good. And
first of all, I don't want to go
years
into the whole thing.
Like, hey guys, we got these fucking shapes.
I don't want to go into the whole
It's
thing.
a triangle, and then it's gonna be a square. Like, what did they hire? Fucking 5-year-olds, or like, what the hell?
You know that guy that does the Elden Ring and Dark Souls and all that stuff, that does all the lore stuff that we don't know about.
Body video.
Yeah, there's a guy named Biff, and he does the same thing for Destiny. Because
I would 100% expect a Destiny lore person to be named Biff.
But the lore is good. It's just, it's a lot. It's a lot of shit, different clans, different armor pieces, whatever. Anyways, back to gaming. Yes, I started playing Destiny again. Shout outs to the crew. Shout outs to Keezy, Ace, Puesto, Boogie, Chasse, getting the crew back together, Real hype. Even though nobody wanted to play, they were like, oh, we don't want to play Destiny, but I kind of forced them to. So
what's everyone playing?
What do you mean?
The gang. Just
Dragon's Dogma.
the Discord. Everyone's playing
The Discord, everybody's usually, now they're doing Dragon's Dogma and Helldivers. Helldivers still holding on strong. I know we still enjoy it, but it just scratches that itch of jump in and out and do fast missions and hilarity and
That's what I fucking told you. Thought I was being a dick. I'm like, this is a way better Destiny experience than Destiny.
Two different experiences. I didn't think you
No.
It's like like a donut and a bagel. Two different things. They're both round, like Destiny shapes, but two different things.
No, I was like, this is like what I would expect. Like if Destiny was a fun game, this is what it would be.
And the other thing I started playing was League of Legends as well. But this one, I hadn't played League in 6 months because I kind of got tired of it. But they have this mode called One for All, where basically each team just picks one character and everybody's the same character. And the games are faster, you level up faster, you earn gold faster. So it's that constant just jumping in and out of games that I really enjoyed for that. And then as far as TV, I started rewatching X-Men, the animated series, because I do want to watch the new X-Men 97, which I've been hearing really, really good things about. I know we were a little bit hesitant because of the art style, but I guess, the show's good enough where you can look past it.
I feel like I still feel like it looks odd.
Yeah, it's like
just in the trailers, but I think people don't seem to mind. Like when they actually watch the show, it's not a big deal. So
yeah. So for those wondering, the 90s series still holds up. Like I think, and I don't know if this is the same for you, but that's like my best memory of X-Men. All the storylines that they did there, I think they did them so well. And
oh yeah,
there's a reason why the show is so iconic, and the theme song is so iconic. So I'm glad they kept it as well. So rewatching that to kind of catch up before I watched the 97. And then I've also been watching Shogun, which is this show on FX based on a book. They did the show, I think it was in the 90s or something, but they focused on the white character. It's set in Japan. It's about
Tom Cruise.
No, that was The Last Samurai, so wrong one.
Okay.
Which also has the same main character, Sarada. But basically it's set in Japan, I think in like the 1700s. I don't know. I'm bad with the time.
1997?
Yeah, 1997. Right,
So, wow, it was a while ago.
and it's about the Christians and the Protestants and religion and all that stuff, and them trying to introduce it to Japan and the shogunate and all that stuff. You know what? I'm horrible at explaining this, just like I was horrible at explaining Jujutsu Kaisen. But you
How
should.
many how many fingers were eaten?
No fingers were hidden, but there was a lot of heads being beheaded.
Okay.
There was a lot of beheadings. I don't know why I said heads being beheaded. There was a lot of beheadings. There was a lot of guts everywhere. Yeah, and you know me, I love me some samurai shit.
You
So,
love guts.
yeah, that too. But the show is great. I think the writing is great. It's subtitled because they speak a lot of Japanese, which I really enjoy. I do like that they're not like conforming to English kind of thing. And it's not like they just talk all the time. So check that out if you haven't. If you're looking for a new show to watch, Shogun, really, really good. What about you? What you been up to?
That's a tough question.
That's the question of life.
Well, I got a cool new shirt.
Love that shirt, man. Oof. Look at Snake. Oof. That looks so good.
Woo!
Looks so good.
They did a reprint for the Metal Gear Solid Uniqlo collection, so I got this one and the Revengeance shirt.
Is
Maybe
it-
next week I'll wear the Revengeance one.
Is this
It's
still
fucking-
on? Can I get one?
When
did you buy them?
Maybe. I want to say it was like 3 or 4 weeks ago.
I'll have to check
So
it
it
out.
might, yeah, just check it out. They might, I just don't know
Yeah.
what numbers they did, but
Well, we were
courtesy of
talk-
Wario 64, I bought mine like within 5 seconds of them being made available. So
Damn it! I must have missed that tweet because I probably
Yeah.
would have got it.
yeah, because I was pissed I missed this the first time. So I feel pretty good about that. So that's my shirt game.
Love that shirt.
And then I don't even remember what the hell I was playing the last time we did an episode, but because I don't think Rebirth. Maybe I played like the demo.
Yeah, you played the demo because
The demo? Okay.
it hadn't released.
I don't think it had fully launched yet, right? But I pretty much just been playing that. So it's been Infinite Wealth, and then as predicted, the moment Rebirth comes out, I'm gonna transition to that and just play the heck out of it. So I think I just got to Cosmo Canyon, which I think is kind of far. I think it's like maybe 3/4 of the way
I don't
for
know
like
the timelines.
for like the main for well the timeline kind of doesn't matter. I think this is what I've heard. But like the game, like you can play this game. I probably only played like 15% of the game. Like the game is fucking huge. Like there's so much shit to do. So I've maybe played it 40 something hours, 40, 50 hours.
Nice, good chunk of change.
But I feel like you can very easily play this game like more than 100 hours. But I'm having a good time. So far it's my game of the year, but I feel like it's kind of like cheating, right? I mean, it's like it's such a nostalgia bomb, and they're so good at that, and so it's just like gives me these like rose tinted glasses of just like it's like this. It's this thing, and they have a callback to this, and the combat system's fucking phenomenal. So it's like objectively an unbelievable, action RPG combat system. I think some people maybe don't love like the open worldness of it or the abundance of mini games, but like I love all that stuff. So
We're in a new day and age. There's a reason you couldn't do it in 1997 or 98.
yeah,
And you do it now.
yeah. And I should say like I love like all the mini game stuff. Like that's like classic Final Fantasy to me. But I don't necessarily love open world games just for the sake of it. But I feel like this is like it's like a good balance where it's like yes, it's open world, but seems more manageable.
It's still straightforward. Like it's not like you're just rolling around kind of thing.
I think they did a good job of like compartmentalizing the areas, and they all kind of followed the same formula. So, like, if you want to lean in on it, you can. If you don't want to do that, you don't have to. And so I've done more of like a balance of unlocking a new area, doing kind of the things that I wanted to focus on, moving on with the story. And yeah, the other thing, which is more like setup oriented, but I've moved to a different room in the apartment, and as a part of that, I now have my PlayStation like on my actual desk, and I had to kind of like integrate it into my computer setup, and this is the setup. That's the setup for me. Like, and I know we've talked about this before, where you're very much like, I want to be on my couch.
I think we switched.
I want to be.
We switched because I was the other way. I had my PlayStation 5
Because you were
on my
streaming
PC.
it, right?
Yeah, I was
'Cause you were-
streaming it too, but
yeah.
it was also easier. And then I was like, it's kind of too much having everything. And then I switched it to the couch.
Do they have?
And you did the opposite.
I got my purple PS5. I got it right here. It's great.
You got everything in the.
I got streaming PC, or what I call like my like work computer, and then my gaming computer, and then my PS5. It's all right here.
I think I might go
Where
back.
Where else do I need to go?
I think I might go back to it. I do got to rearrange my desk. I think I'm gonna move my desk to another space just so I could create more space. So I might go back to it. I don't know yet.
I just like having the like second display where I can just like web browse or watch shit, and have like a full mouse and keyboard while I'm gaming, which is like basically what I do when I'm playing PC games. But now I just do it with console games as well. So,
well, I'm glad you're gonna be playing your PS5 more now. Not just
yeah,
for
dude.
Final Fantasy.
So I think there's Rebirth,
Stellar
maybe
Blade.
Rise of Ronin.
Rise of
Stellar
Ronin,
Blade
maybe.
demo. Unicorn Overlord.
Yep, that too.
I don't think is on PC. I think I would need to get that on PS5.
Yeah, great Vanillaware stuff.
Yeah, so yeah, so it's good that I have, and I know it's like so stupid. It's just like all I had to do was get up and go sit in my lazy boy in front of my giant TV. But like
You want to be able to do more stuff on your PC, but also game on your PlayStation. I get it.
Yeah. So it's just more natural for me.
Yeah, I just gotta figure it out because my desk. I got the Roadcaster. Yeah, it's a lot. It's like I'm an architect. I gotta figure it out.
There you go.
One last thing. I did watch Dune 2, and if you haven't, I know you haven't seen the first one either.
I haven't seen either. Yeah.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the first one. It was a lot more exposition, obviously, because you're introducing the world. Obviously, with the book being so hard to get adapted on the big screen, you had Jodorowsky's Dune, which never got made because the cost ballooned really high. Then you had, I think, was it David Lynch? I think it was David Lynch. Yeah, he made the one.
Yeah.
And that
with
one,
Kyle MacLachlan.
Yeah, the Twin Peaks. So and that one was okay, but this Villanueva just blows it out of the water. So definitely, if you haven't watched one, watch one. It's a lot of exposition, but I think they do really, really great introducing the world. And then part two is just knocks it out of the park. One of the best sequels. I would put it right up there with like The Dark Knight, Godfather 2, something like that, where like the sequel's better than the original.
Ace Ventura.
Ace Ventura 2. I'm not familiar with them. I've seen them. I'm not as. I don't like them as. I don't like.
You're pissing me off.
I don't find the
we
humor.
gotta end the episode.
I don't find the humor of somebody coming out of a rhino's butthole as hilarious as you do. Anyway,
dude, getting warm in this rhino.
the other thing.
Do you know that's what I said? Do you know that's what I say when it's hot outside?
No.
Getting warm in this rhino.
I've never been around you where you say that. And
I say that a lot. I
we've
say
been
that a lot.
around in the summer.
Maybe it's been too cool outside, but
Yeah.
if it's hot and I'm sweating,
All right, now I'll get
getting
it.
warm in this rhino.
Now I'll get it. You just make the most obscure references that people are like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I know.
But the last thing about Dune is, which is hilarious, that everybody got the wrong. Well, the people who aren't familiar with the book got the wrong message completely about the movie. And I don't want to spoil it, but it's like whatever you think the end of the movie is, it's not. That's not. Go look it up. Look up what Frank Herbert was trying to say about the character. Because people who only watch the movies are like, oh my god, yeah, this is fun. No, it's not. No, it's not. But yeah, that's it. Great to be back. We will be back to our regularly scheduled program. We will be recording on Monday nights, live streaming on Monday nights, releasing the video as soon as we're able to edit it, and then the audio as well. Thank you guys for sticking with us, and we'll see you guys again next week on the next episode. I'm Hugo. Bye.
I'm Nick later.